So we've all heard that the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. So why is it that we do the same things over and over and expect different results? I want to give you some insights this morning as to why that is the case. The reality is that the brain gets taxed, gets tired, gets overworked. It takes energy in order to do something different. And so human nature is that we are more comfortable to do the same things over and over. But at the same time, we have hope of getting something better, getting a different result. And so our hope competes with the drain on our brain, and we end up doing the same things over and over and expect different results. But that's insanity. So how do we stop the insanity? Well, the reality is you got to do something to stop the insanity. And that's not just a play on words. The reality is we need to do something. We need to do something different. But how do we do that? And especially right now, during the COVID-19 issues that are going on, we are all more tired. Our brains are more taxed. We're in isolation. We don't have the emotional connections with other people, the emotional support, the positivity. And even if you're at work, you're feeling a drain. There's so many more restrictions on us. We've got to keep our distance. There's so many more requirements. And so the challenge we have is we need to recognize that our brains are being taxed that much more right now than they are under normal circumstances. We're having to think more, even that simple step of having to think more. So what do? Yesterday and previously, I talked about grit. And the grit is passion, perseverance, and resilience. And that talent plus effort equals skill. But skill plus effort equals achievement. And if we want to get different results, that means we got to achieve. And the key ingredient, as you can see, is effort. We need to display effort. But here's the challenge. During these times, we don't feel like putting in the effort. I'm reminded of that every morning when I do my workouts. I don't feel like I wake up exhausted. And normally you wouldn't feel that way, but we have to put in that much more, and yet our brain doesn't feel like it. And so it's kind of a non-starter. So what do? I want to give you 3 simple little steps, 3 simple little things that will help you to increase the effort. And it ties into intentionality, because the key with intentionality is taking the positive actions even when it doesn't seem like those positive actions are going to make a difference. During the near term, the things that we don't do seem to have the same result as the things we do. And so what we've got to do is take the steps that are as easy not to do as they are to do. And if we keep taking the positive little steps, incremental improvement. If we keep taking those positive little steps, they will lead to success. And when our brain doesn't feel like it, we need to build in habits. We need to establish habits. So here's the 3 things. Take smaller steps, do the things that are as easy not to do as they are to do, but do them. Do something. Smaller steps. Establish habits. Here's the interesting thing about the brain. When you create a habit and you just do it, you're no longer taxing the brain. It doesn't require the brain to think the same way and to make the decisions. And it's so much easier to keep persevering because it's just part of what you do day in and day out. And number 3, measure progress. Too often people hope that they will get the result, but they don't measure to see what are the steps that I'm taking today and what is that producing. And instead they hope that they will get somewhere, but they're not tracking to see if I'm making any progress at all along the way. So I encourage you today, especially you leaders, to help your teams recognize that when you don't feel like it, take a smaller step. But don't do nothing, do something, and you will stop the insanity. Secondly, help them to build good habits, day in and day out. And number 3, measure. Just track it. Not so that you can police them or hold them accountable to it, because amazing when people measure things and they become aware for themselves. They will start to realize, oh man, I didn't do as much as I thought I did. So maybe today I'll do a little bit more. I'll take a few extra little steps. And if I track it, I will see what I did and what result it gave. And tomorrow I maybe need to do a little bit more. That's the key today, in very simple terms, how you can help your team to move through this time, because we will get through it, but more effectively. So lead today, help your team to do something, and stop the insanity.